a well-known story. It comes from the Talmud, from Tainit, page, what is it, Chaf Gimel, the Sefer in Tainit, yeah, Chaf Aleph. And it's a story about Nachum Ish Gamzu. Nachum Ish Gamzu was the teacher of Rabbi Akiva, one of the teachers of Rabbi Akiva. And Nachum Ish Gamzu was a person that did a lot of miracles. He was an amazing miracle. And why was he called Gamzu? Gamzu means also this. He used to say, when bad things happen, and in his generation, a lot of bad things happen, that this is also for good. In other words, this is also for good means that whatever you see that's bad, it essentially is good. Essentially, okay, so here's the story. Amazing story. And it can teach us something really amazing about it. And the first Rebbe of Chabad brings it down in Likutei Torah, the story, to show us how important it is to think positively. So once the government of Rome, this is after the destruction of the temple, they made some sort of a decree on the Jews. And the Jews wanted to, somehow or other, get him to rescind this decree. Doesn't explain exactly what the decree was, on education or what, anyway, a terrible decree. So they decided they're going to make a gesture of friendship and put to the king. So they prepared a box, a chest, and they put diamonds in it, which was worth a few $1 million, which that was a big sacrifice for the Jews to get all this together and to send it to the king. Of course, the king was not lacking diamonds. And in fact, if the king wanted to, he could have taken all the diamonds of the Jews away. So to give the king diamonds, how do you say, the feeling behind it was more important than the actual deed. Okay, but nevertheless, that's what he did. So he took this chest and he went to Rome, but on the way there, he stopped off in an inn, and the innkeeper was a thief. And the thieves have a certain sense of, when there's something to steal. So they had a sense that something was in this. So when he went to sleep, so he or his sons, whatever, they opened up this box and they took out all the diamonds and they put inside of the box sand. They had sand, which weighs the same thing as the diamonds. And near that, the diamonds were packed in there so that you couldn't hear them rattling around. However, it was Nachum Ish Gamzu did not sense that something happened, and he kept continuing on his travels, and as understood, the box was all locked up. And finally, he gets standing in front of the king, and he says, "Your Majesty, and please, we are the Jews, and we are your servants, and we are loyal to you. And we just want to ask a favor from His Majesty. And here is a gift from us to show that, how much we care, and we know that, His Majesty, these are the best diamonds we've got." And he opens up, and there's filled with sand. So immediately, this Nachum Ish Gamzu, he realizes this is the end. If there was any chance of the decree being negated, it's finished. And not only is that finished, but there's going to be new decrees for sure. To come in front of the king and to do a thing like this. And it was the end. And all of a sudden, he realized the seriousness of the situation, the danger that he was, and he said, "Gamzu Latova, this is also good. This is good," which it totally was not good. This is good. And the king is boiling with anger. He can't speak. All of a sudden, there comes this very important looking noble. No one's ever seen him before, but it's just his whole presence just shined nobility and greatness. And he spoke the king's language, Roman, whatever it was, and he said, "Your Majesty, please don't be mad at the Jew. He can't explain himself. He's very afraid. But this dirt happens to be the dirt that his forefather Abraham used to fight against his enemies, to destroy them." Remember, there's this whole story where he fought against the four kings and Kedar the Omer and all this stuff, and he defeated single-handedly all of these enemies. Remember, he saved Lot. King said, "Yeah, I read the story, but what's it got to do?" He said, "This sand is secret weapons. You throw a little bit of it, it turns into darts, into spears, into arrows, and it hits exactly between the eyes of the enemy." King says, "Let's see." So he calls out his enemy, sends one of his soldiers, whatever, and he calls out his enemy, and it says, you lily-livered, scared, but nothing's come out and fight. So they come out, 1,000 people strong against one person. He takes a little bit of the sand and he throws it, and it's sure enough. And the king said, "Whoa, this is a gift. You Jews are okay. What do you want? I'll give you anything. What do you want?" And the Jew says, "All I want is just that decree." Said, "Go and get the decree." Tears up the decree. And the king said, "Because you did this, gave me this amazing gift, I'm going to give you anything you want." And he took 10 chests and filled them up with all sorts of diamonds and precious things. And he gave him his diamonds back. And he went back on the way back. So he stopped off at the inn and he saw, here comes the Jews. And he's got all these guards around him, guarding him. He says, "What happened?" He says, "Oh, that dirt, my box is full with dirt. I don't know how in the dirt." He says, "Wow, that's really great, And so he fills up a whole bunch of the innkeeper, the thief fills up a big chest with dirt, goes to the king, and the dirt was dirt. And the king said, "Nice dirt, bury him in it." And he killed him. So everything came into its proper place. It says the Rebbe, what do we learn from the story? Why did the dirt turn into this? So, oh, by the way, who was the man, the important man? That was Elijah the prophet. Elijah the prophet came. He said that even though Elijah the prophet had passed away, whatever, 700 years earlier, but he came and he saved. Why did Elijah the prophet come and all of these pieces of sand turned into diamonds? So the reason is very simple, because he said Gamzu Latova, because he said that what happened is for the good. His thought and his words, that's what turned the tide. And he took a situation that was terrible, that was the worst possible, and he turned it around. That not only was it not bad, but it came out that this dirt that was there did something that the diamonds couldn't have done. So it came out to be a good thing that the diamonds were stole. The king is lacking diamonds, but he sure was lacking the dirt, which was turned into arrows because this Jew was in trouble. Because he was in trouble and he ignored the trouble and he transformed the trouble. Not only did he ignore the trouble, he acknowledged that the trouble was really good in its essence. And this is a thing which, I hope you never have to try it. But when there are difficulties and you say, this is for the good, and you keep thinking this is for the good, and you do everything to make it good, then the chances of it becoming good, in the end of the Maimer over there, it says in the Kuti Torah that for him, it worked automatically because he was a very high level. But for us, our thoughts at least are put into escrow or whatever, they're put into storage. And eventually our good thoughts come into reality and everything becomes turned around. And the Jewish thoughts of thousands of years of Jewish suffering, that they all had good thoughts before they were put into the gas chambers and for this, somehow or other, all this is going to all come in together with the 515 prayers that Moses prayed to come into the land of Israel, and he didn't answer his prayers. But Moses didn't pray just for himself. He prayed for all of the Jews that died in Egypt and died in the exile, and he's praying for us also. And those 515 prayers will be answered with all of the other prayers that have not yet been answered in a revealed way, and we will all dance together with Mashiach. Now, have a good day. God bless you all, and thank you for coming. Tell your friends to come.